I think the culmination between his dad picking on him and all his daddy issues came out and all the shit that AJ gassed up into his head.
Hey, I think that's what.
Oh, you don't show it? Chat was like gassing him up too, leading up to it, which we've talked about.
Another reason why live streaming is toxic.
Yeah.
On August 23rd, at a small California wrestling show, cameras caught something nobody expected. Raja Jackson, son of UFC legend Rampage Jackson, stormed into the ring, hoisted indie wrestler Seacoast 2, and slammed him hard. Then came the part that made everyone stop breathing. More than 20 punches that looked nothing like performance. The crowd froze, wrestlers scrambled, and for a few sick seconds, entertainment turned into something that felt real and reckless. Raja is a pro MMA fighter. He currently holds a negative pro MMA record of 0-1. He's the son of former UFC champ Quinton Rampage Jackson, and that pedigree is a spotlight you can't switch off. Cameras love it, audiences expect it, and when the surname is loud, every move has to be louder. Now add the live stream effect. On platforms built around instant reactions, the algorithm doesn't clap for restraint. It spikes for chaos. The more outrageous the moment, the bigger the surge. You're not just wrestling an opponent, you're wrestling the temptation to give the crowd something wild enough to trend. That's how a performer starts chasing noise instead of craft. You feel chat breathing down your neck. Even if nobody literally types, "do it," the energy becomes a dare. It pushes you past the line you swore you wouldn't cross the last time you promised to keep it safe. Pro wrestling has a code: protect your partner and sell the story. There's also a darker tradition, what veterans call a receipt, payback for a stiff shot. At its best, it's controlled and respectful. In the wrong hands, it's an excuse, a thin cover for ego when someone decides they need to prove a point. And this wasn't some anonymous training room. This was a booked show at KnockX Pro, with a crowd in the building and an audience online. The moment goes from a planned spot to a pressure test you can fail in front of everyone, forever replayed in clips and shorts. A famous father's shadow, a live chat hungry for spectacle, and a performer who decides dominance matters more than discipline. Say whatever you want about angles or works. None of that justifies turning your partner into a target. The job is to keep him safe, not feed your pride.
I'm gonna fake crash out. All right, bet. You about to see? You about to see?
Insecurity at its finest.
See how fake of a crash out I am. Now I get a chance to get in the ring and do this and do some shit to him.
And here's what makes it unforgivable. Minutes before things exploded, they'd already made peace. Twice. Handshakes were exchanged, the universal sign that whatever happens next is under control. So if the fuse still burned after that, it wasn't because of the show. It was because someone let their ego write the script.
I appreciate it.
I didn't know. I just thought you were
They shook hands and said it was cool. So why did it spiral into a hospital run after the bell? The answer sits in that handshake, the hype, and the moment when restraint died. After the can-throwing mess before the match, Psycho Stu apologized and they shook hands. The universal promise that whatever happens next stays safe. That's how pro wrestling works. You settle it, you protect each other, then you perform. Footage from the night shows the truce clearly. But right under that handshake, a different current was moving. Reports from ringside say someone told Raja to give him a receipt in the ring.
When you run in on his shit, you fucking give him his receipt. You remember what a receipt is? Give him that fucking receipt, bro.
Old school code for a hard payback. Used wisely, it's a nudge. In the wrong hands, it's an excuse. And Raja took it like a green light. The plan was simple. Make an entrance, hit a crowd-pleasing slam, sell the moment, and get out. Instead, ego grabbed the wheel. After the lift and dump, Raja didn't act like a partner. He acted like a punisher, turning a cooperative spot into a real beating. That wasn't miscommunication. That was a cowardly move that should have never happened. The second the punches kept coming, the show died, and the panic started. Here's how the line from work to shoot vanished in front of everyone. Raja scoops Stu, slams him and knocks him out, then keeps swinging, loaded heavy shots. The crowd's noise drops into a hush as multiple people enter the ring to pull him off. It took 4 people to actually hold Raja against the corner. What makes it uglier is the context. The segment was supposed to be a simple payback spot. One slam, sell it, move on. Instead, ego takes the wheel. The punches keep coming while Stu looks limp on the canvas. Teammates rush in, and the show ends right there. It was a scumbag move and everyone knows it. The wrestling promotion hosting the event calls it a selfish, irresponsible act. Broadcasters describe more than 24 strikes as others restrain Raja. That's not miscommunication, that's a choice, and it's on him. After that barrage, the storyline is over and the sirens begin. Hospital statements and an investigation that turns one reckless moment into a real-world mess. Psycho Stu is rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. Hours later, reports say he's awake and talking, but the damage is real. Broken bones, teeth gone, a night that should have been a show turned into a trauma ward story.
Right.
A lot of them, yeah. Broken facial bones. He was out on the slam. Stu's pretty fucked up, I'll put it this way. What happened yesterday is he choked on his own blood.
The wrestling promotion hosting the event, Knockers Pro, doesn't hide behind "it's just wrestling." Their statement calls it exactly what it was: a planned spot twisted into a selfish, irresponsible act of violence, an egregious breach of the code that keeps performers safe. That isn't miscommunication, that's a line crossed on purpose. Police get involved, LAPD confirms it took a report and is investigating what happened in that ring, because when the show ends and a man's left hurt, it's not just a storyline anymore, it's evidence. Then Raja's father speaks. Rampage apologizes publicly, says he doesn't condone any of it, and drops a detail that makes the whole thing even worse. Raja had suffered a concussion days earlier and had no business doing anything physical. If that were the case, Raja should never have went to a wrestling event and just recovered at home. Instead, he brutally assaulted someone over a misunderstanding that had been cleared up. I get that he needs to stick by his son, but this is absolutely vile. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. And when the real-world alarms fade, the platform alarms kick in, because the internet doesn't just watch a disaster, it decides what to do with you after. Within hours, timelines flood with the slam and the barrage, each repost sharpening the same question: did a platform just host real violence and call it content? That's not engagement, that's a credibility crisis. Viewers demand action, creators weigh in, and the platform's trust meter starts blinking red. Enforcement becomes the spectacle. Suspensions debated, partnerships questioned, payouts scrutinized. Even sponsors and co-streamers suddenly keep their distance. Nobody wants their logo stapled to a beatdown. Both Raja and Rampage streams were promptly banned. Here's the ugly loop no one wants to admit. The algorithm spikes for chaos, chat culture eggs it on, and a performer chases a moment big enough to trend. But let's be clear, the algorithm doesn't throw punches. Chat doesn't force your hands. A grown man made a choice after a handshake said, "We're good. If your monetization model needs someone left limp on the canvas, you don't have a platform, you have a problem." Kick, clips, creators, everyone has skin in this. The only person who had the power to stop it in the ring was Raja, and he didn't. And the person who paid for that choice wasn't chasing clout. He was trusting a partner. Here's who Psycho Stu is, and why this hit far beyond one night in a small venue. Psycho Stu isn't just a ring name. He's Stuart Smith, an independent wrestler on the California circuit, and a former war veteran suffering from PTSD, who treats wrestling like it's therapy for his mind and to entertain people. In this business, the code is simple: protect your partner. You sell the story without handing out real damage. When a veteran who trusted that code winds up in a hospital bed because someone chased a moment, that's not entertainment. It's a betrayal. KnockX's own statement made it clear they saw the barrage as a selfish break from the plan, and even Rampage said Stu was awake and stable, which tells you how serious things got. So yes, Stu's a character in the ring, but he's also a human being who served, trained, and showed up to perform, not to be turned into a target for clout and vengeance. In all likelihood, Stu will never mentally and physically be the same. Anyone that has watched MMA knows that you never throw punches to someone that is already knocked out. Landing heavy shots like that are usually life-altering. There have been fighters that have never been the same after getting knocked out once. This just shows how despicable and disgusting how everything went down. Let's call it what it was, a choice. Handshakes were exchanged, a plan was set, and then one person decided the script didn't apply to him. That isn't heat. That isn't working snug. That's ego taking the wheel and driving straight through the code that keeps people safe. Apologies matter, but they don't unring a bell. Platform bans matter, but they don't reset a brain or fix a jaw. Statements from promotions matter, but they don't rewrite what the camera's already caught. Accountability has to be bigger than PR. It means owning the intent behind those extra shots, not just the optics after the fact. And if the claim is that injuries or emotions clouded judgment, that makes it worse, not better. Professionals are expected to protect the person across from them, especially when pressure spikes. You don't earn respect by proving you can hit hard. You earn it by showing you can stop. This is where the conversation has to widen. Where's the line between content and cruelty? Who draws it? Performers, promoters, or platforms that profit from chaos until it spills over? Wrestling's golden rule is simple: protect your partner. Break that and the ring stops being a stage and becomes a liability. Real accountability looks like conditions, not excuses. Medical clearance before any physical return, real training on safety and ring psychology. A long sit down with the people who keep indie shows alive. It looks like making right by the person who trusted you. It looks like understanding the difference between a moment that trends and a moment that scars. Because in the end, this wasn't a stunt gone sideways. It was a deliberate escalation after a handshake said, "We're good." If you need a headline to feel relevant, write one with discipline, not with someone else's hospital bill. The audience came for a story. What they got was a lesson. Without respect, there is no show, just a beatdown pretending to be one. If this crossed the line, like the video. Sound off below, tell me what I missed, and subscribe for more breakdowns of influencer meltdowns.